office hours today, I'd like to talk about the difference between scarcity and a shortage. Let's start with the definitions. The simplest definition of scarcity is that there are limited resources available from nature. Therefore, there's not enough to go around. This is the standard economic problem that we face in society, where we're trying to allocate or ration those resources among many, many individuals who have nearly unlimited wants. A shortage is different from the condition of scarcity because a shortage exists when demand is greater than supply. A shortage is a market condition, whereas scarcity is a lack of availability, free availability. These are two very different things because the market condition of a shortage occurs at a specific price, whereas since we're talking about limited resources being available from nature, we're talking about what's the availability at a price of zero. That's the main thing that oftentimes will confuse students. Let's think about 4 examples down here at the bottom. Let's start with the diamond. Now, diamonds are scarce. There aren't very many of them freely available from nature. That'll be the first thing. And the point of confusion is, for at least most students, diamonds are something that students think of as being in short supply, and therefore oftentimes, if you're not careful, you might say there's a shortage of diamonds. That's not true. We have markets to set equilibrium prices which equate demand with supply. So when you go to buy a diamond on the marketplace, presumably there's both a buyer and a seller who's interested in that particular price. So we would not say that there's a shortage of diamonds, but we would say that they are scarce. Next, consider the case of water. Now, water is very abundant in certain places on this planet, but it's also very hard to find in arid climates. So the average person would say it's scarce, and they would be correct. And you might be tempted to say there's a shortage of water, but of course there could also be a surplus of water. It just depends where you are, where you live, how much water is around you. Don't confuse the two terms. They are very different meanings. Next, let's think about the notion of sunshine. Sunshine is something that's available from nature. It's very plentiful. The sun is always shining on the earth. But that doesn't mean that it's not scarce. And the reason it's scarce is exactly the reason that I'm standing here in front of you today. I'm inside my office. The fluorescent lights are on. It's actually cloudy outside my window. And that means if I want to go and find some sunlight, I'd have to go outside the building, get in my car, and drive until I could find some sunshine. And that's all assuming that it's during the daylight as opposed to nighttime. If you want sunshine, it's not freely available from nature. It's limited in the amount of time that we're going to be able to experience it. So it's also scarce. Very, very abundant in many parts of the world, but we would still say it's scarce. Finally, I want to turn your attention to air. Now, under most normal circumstances, air is freely available from nature, and we can have as much of it as we want whenever we want it. And what that means is that you and I take in a breath of air, we breathe it, a few seconds later we breathe again. This is such an automated process that we don't have to concern ourselves with worrying about where's my next breath of air coming from. Since I don't worry about it, since I don't think about it, it's something that's in sufficiently large quantities that every human who wants it under most normal circumstances is satisfied. So I'm going to put down here that air is not scarce, and you're probably already thinking, but wait, what about all those unique set of circumstances where there's not enough air? I would agree. If you're underwater and you're scuba diving and you need a tank of oxygen, air is in short supply. It becomes scarce. If you're an astronaut, air is scarce. And if you're someone who's trapped in a mine, then obviously air is scarce as well. So in all those unique circumstances, we can think about situations where air might become scarce, but for most of us, we don't worry about it, therefore it's not part of the normal economic deliberation. And that's the main reason why we think about scarcity, because in economics, we encourage people to make choices or decisions based upon opportunity costs. And so in this particular case, when we say, are you going to buy a diamond? Well, you have to think about it, right? Very expensive, quite scarce, and so therefore, do I want to spend a lot of money to get a diamond as opposed to something else? Do I want to purchase a glass of water or go down the hallway to get some out of the fountain? Those still take time and energy and money. It's still scarce. And do I want to go and find the sunshine? There are always opportunity costs. That's been our little lesson here on scarcity versus shortage. Make sure you keep them different and have yourself a profitable day.